So yesterday I get a customer. I got turned by one of my supervisors since it was a little bit slow, right? They were looking at a Mach-E. From there, we picked up pretty much the right color and pretty much the right trim, which is a premium Mach-E, black on black, you know, pretty much everything black. And we take it on a drive. It was so quiet, you know, nothing really like excitement going on, right? You know, blatant, you know, conversation here and there. So long story short, we pull up to the front, right? And you pretty much, right, as a car salesperson, you already know you either have to ask for their business or just ask for, you know, what's going on after this, right? Are you gonna buy it, or are you gonna keep looking around, or can I do something so, you know, you don't have to go look around and waste your time? And so I tell them, hey, you know what? You might be looking at other cars, but I don't know. Let me go ahead and get you some numbers, and then from there, if you guys want to go think about it, go think about it. No problem with me. I will just chill, you know, nothing really pushy, not pressury, right? And so we get in. I sit them down, right? And so I start asking them questions like, do you want to lease it? Do you want to finance? So leasing, you know, you want to, how many months? 36 months. How many miles? Oh, I don't know. Oh, how much do you drive? And so they pulled up the husband, right? It was the husband, the wife, and one kid. And so he goes, well, honey, you drove, I don't know, 8,500 miles, right? Because he had written down on his phone, or, you know, typed down on his phone. And so he goes 8,500, 7,500, and then 8,500 again in the past 3 years. And so I'm like, okay, let's do 10,500 just in case. 7,500, like, you know, the most, because they don't really drive a lot. And dude, after getting all the information, right, I was just pretty much give them numbers and then just let them go. That's a big no-no in this business, right? If you let people go without asking the proper questions, or without at least showing them some numbers and see if we can make a deal happen, or how we can put a deal together, then you might get in trouble, right? Because that customer can go somewhere else and say, oh, I want to be a 500. They hit me a 550. They told me to, you know, go somewhere else and shop around. And so the next, you know, store, they're gonna be like, what if I can do better for 450? They're gonna say, yeah, of course, let's do it. Yeah, I mean, it's just how it is in the market. And so, you know, my desk manager, he literally had me go back and forth 3 times, literally 3 times, to at least get a commitment, something, some number to at least work on it. He made me go 3 times just because I was literally gonna give him the offer, and then I was just pretty much gonna be like, well, if you like the offer, let's do it. If you don't like the offer, I'll see you later, right? But he made me go 3 times and ask for a commitment. 3 times, not a joke. It's the first time in months since I do that, because usually the customers already know what they want. But this customer was already in the pinnacle of, yeah, you know, if the numbers make sense, then we'll do it. But they didn't give me a number at first. The guy was pretty much the, you know, the decision maker, right? And so he was like, okay, I want my payments to be on the lease with this amount of money down, with no money down, right? I want it to be less than 500 a month. And I'm like, okay, you said 500. If I come here at 500, will you take the vehicle? And they're like, you know, they were still, you know, figuring out, because the woman, you know, it was gonna be her car, but the guy pays the bills, right? And so she goes, well, there's, you know, in Volkswagen, there's another vehicle I want to take a look at. And so I go, oh, okay, have you seen the vehicle? They're like, no. And I asked her again, do you like my vehicle? Do you like the way I drove? And she goes, yeah, I like mine, but, you know, I usually come back to the first vehicle I go look at. And I'm like, great, not a problem. That's what I'm here for. I do want to help you guys get this vehicle, and I do want to, you know, get to your number. And the reason why I said that is because, you know, this was the second, I think it was the third time, the last time, when I asked them, what is that one number that you're, you know, that you would say yes right now? What is that monthly payment that, you know, you're not gonna go look around and we'll pretty much shake hands, you and me? I was talking to the guy. And so he goes, if you tell me if we keep it at 350s, that's like, yeah, that's a no-brainer. 350. And I go, okay, so 350 when 10,500 miles a year, that's pretty much how we shake hands. And he goes, so he verbally agreed with me. We didn't shake on it, so that's where, you know, left off. So, but it's okay. I go back to my desk and they go, there you go. At least he told you a number what he is thinking of right now, because you know he just didn't go outside, you know, they didn't go shopping around, they didn't go just to look around. So they're here for a reason, right? They're here to buy a car. And that's an important lesson I learned yesterday. And I'm like, wow, it's been months since I've actually, you know, try to get an actual commitment. And now, you know, go back and forth, give me $500 worth of this, you know, I want to be here. No, they told you that you want to be at a certain number, $350 a month. That will be how we shake hands. Everything is good. Let's make the deal happen, right? And so when I went back for the last time, right, I tell them $350, and they're like, come on, Andy, what's going on? And so I told the guy, right, with zero money down, zero out of your pocket, because usually on the lease there are drive-offs, right? So you have to pay, you know, maybe like $2,000, maybe less, $3,000, right? It depends on where you are buying the vehicle. But on this occasion, it was zero money down, zero out of pocket, nothing. Just go inside, sign, get the keys, bye-bye. And that's pretty much what's going on. And so I go back to my desk. I start making a little bit of talk right here and there, looking at my phone, looking at the computer, right, doing whatever. And so when my closer or supervisor comes back, he's like, all right, so, you know, he started making some conversation, right? He didn't just, you know, go for the kill. After he made some conversation, he was like, okay, on this specific model, right, this premium model, I can get you to $399 with 7,500 miles a year and no money out of your pocket. Well, he said $399 plus taxes. So I don't know, it was maybe like maybe 30, 40 bucks more. But I don't know how much it was for taxes. But he verbally told him it'll be $399 plus tax and title for 7,500 miles. And then he overcame the, oh, we want the 10,500, right? So he overcame that, hey, there's, you know, if you want to trade on your vehicle early, there's no penalty, you know, Ford, you know, it's like a open lease, so you can sell your vehicle after 3 years, so you can get some money. And so he explained that to them very well, and they're like, okay. He's like, let's do it. And I'm like, there you go. I'm like, that's how you do it. And so that is one of the biggest lessons I've learned yesterday. Obviously, in this business, you have to learn everything, but not everything, right? Sometimes you have to dumb it down because you don't want to sound too smart, because if you do, then they're just gonna go shop around, right? And so that's the biggest lesson that I learned yesterday. How to convert an uncommitted customer, right? That's pretty much how I started doing it yesterday, and it really opened my eyes. It really made me realize how to pretty much not slap people around in the bad way, but like, you know, bring them down to reality. Like, hey, you like my vehicle, you're already here with me, this is the right vehicle, right? Yeah, it's the right vehicle. I need to go somewhere else to shop around. Okay, yeah, look, not a problem. I know for a fact at the end of the day, it's just a matter of the deal, right? How everything's gonna look like with the numbers. And I know you had a number in mind. I'm not sure if you want to put the money down or if you want to put some money down to, you know, lower your monthly payment. Aside from that, what's the monthly payment in mind that you had already budgeted in your head? Because I know for a fact, you know, you're not gonna go to 5 other dealers and, you know, shop around, talk to different salespeople, which, you know, it can be a headache. I understand, you know, I like to buy stuff too. But I know for a fact, you know, you came down with your family with a certain number in mind. What number is that? What monthly payment is that? Realistic monthly payment, so I can make you a deal happen. If it sounds too unrealistic, I tell you right away. But if I can do it, I'll go ahead and ask, and if I can do it, we'll shake hands. That's pretty much how it came out, right? And they're like, that sounds pretty fair to me. I want to be in the 350s. And I go, okay, 350s, no money down, zero money down, keep your money. I don't need your money. And so they go, yes. Go to the desk manager. They made the deal happen, $399 plus tax and title. It was a mini, but hey, at least we converted a customer that was ready to buy a vehicle. Yes, he even told me today we weren't planning on buying a vehicle. We're probably gonna wait a little bit of, you know, maybe like 2-3 weeks to make a decision, but it's a good deal. Yeah. And so That's what I learned yesterday. Obviously I need to exercise it, because yeah, it might be in, you know, buried in the back of my mind, but obviously when I need to use that, I need to use it, you know, and good, so I can help people make a decision. Because sometimes, I mean, you know, if you work in sales, or at least in retail sales, right, you know, if the customer goes somewhere else, maybe they might come back to you, and maybe like a 20% chance. Maybe if you give them, you know, good service, good everything, maybe they want to come back to you because you did something good. Maybe the numbers weren't right, but you did something good, and my customer is back, so I can help him out. Bye bye.